My name is Renate Richter, and at 72 years old, I've learned a truth that took me decades to grasp. Love cannot be bought, and freedom is worth any price. This is the story of how I broke free from the chains of familial manipulation, rediscovered my worth, and rebuilt a life that was truly mine. It's a story of betrayal, resilience, and the courage to say no to those who once meant everything to me. If you're reading this, I hope it inspires you to reflect on your own boundaries and the value of your own heart. It all began with a phone call I never should have made. I picked up the receiver to ask my son Max about his upcoming wedding to Lena, his fiancée of 3 years. I had been dreaming of that day for months, picturing myself in a pale pink dress I'd bought for $200, imagining the joy of seeing my only son take his vows. But when Lena answered the phone, her voice carried a chilling edge. She looked me dead in the eye through the screen of our video call and said, "Oh Renata, we got married yesterday. It was a small ceremony. We only invited special people." The words landed like a bucket of ice water poured over my head. Special people. For 3 years, I had paid their $500 monthly rent, furnished their apartment with every stick of furniture, and stocked their refrigerator when their wallets were empty. I had sacrificed my own comforts, dipping into my late husband Robert's inheritance and my modest pension to ensure they never went without. And yet, I was not a special person. I stood frozen in the living room of my own home, the phone feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Max avoided my gaze, his eyes darting to the floor as Lena lounged on the sofa I had paid for, a $1,200 leather sectional I'd chosen because Lena said it was classy. The pale pink dress hung uselessly in my closet, alongside new shoes and the shattered illusion of being part of my son's most important day. I had planned to give them $1,000 as a wedding gift, had called my sister Diana in Chicago to share the excitement, and had scrubbed my house top to bottom, thinking they might come over to celebrate post-ceremony. All of it collapsed under those 4 venomous words, only special people. Max finally spoke, his voice rehearsed and hollow. "Mom, it was an intimate thing, just the 2 of us and the witnesses. But I knew it was a lie. Social media betrayed them." I saw the photos, Lena's parents beaming beside the bride and groom, her siblings clinking champagne flutes, Lena radiant in a white dress I had unknowingly helped finance with an $800 personal expenses gift last month. I saw everything I wasn't meant to see. A week later, Lena called, her tone no longer smug but desperate. "Renata, the rent is overdue. The landlord's threatening to evict us if we don't pay this week. You forgot the transfer." Her voice quivered, as if the world were crumbling. I paused, memories flooding back of every bank run I'd made for them, every meal I'd skipped to fund their whims, every plan I'd cancelled to keep a roof over their heads. After they excluded me from their wedding, they had the audacity to call as if nothing had happened. "Lena," I said, my voice calm in a way that surprised even me, "didn't I warn you that I only help special people?" The silence on the line was profound, broken only by the steady beat of my own heart. For the first time in years, she was the one trembling, not me. "Renata, I don't understand," she stammered. "We were always special to you. You're like a second mom to me." Lies. Sweet, practiced lies delivered in the honeyed tone she used only when she needed something. The same tone that had coaxed me into funding her wedding dress, their honeymoon, the rings, $2,500 in total, I later calculated, all for a ceremony I wasn't deemed worthy to attend. For years, I had walked on eggshells, measuring every word, gesture, and gift, hoping for a scrap of affection from my son and his wife. I had been the perfect mother, the accommodating mother-in-law, the silent benefactor who never complained, even when they treated me like I was invisible. But those words, only special people, ignited something long dormant within me. I sat down that night and tallied the cost of my generosity. 3 years of $500 monthly rent, $18,000. Groceries and household supplies, roughly $200 a month, $7,200. Birthday and holiday gifts, $3,000. Lena's medical emergencies, $800. The car loan they never repaid, $2,500. The air conditioner repair for their apartment, $600. The furniture, $1,200. The total came to $33,300, money I'd pulled from my retirement savings, my husband's legacy, the nest egg meant to secure my final years. All spent to keep 2 capable adults comfortable, only to be treated as a stranger on their wedding day. I cried that night, not from sadness but from a white-hot anger, at them, but also at myself. I wept for the foolish mother I had been, for the woman who had lost herself trying to be indispensable to those who saw her as disposable. I cried for the years of silent humiliation, for the love I thought I was earning but was never truly given. The next morning, something shifted. I looked in the bathroom mirror and saw the same tired eyes, the same wrinkles etched by years of giving without receiving. But there was a new hardness in my gaze, a resolve I hadn't recognized before. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table where I'd planned countless surprises for Max and Lena, counted bills for their expenses, and wept over their indifference. Today, that table bore witness to a different kind of reckoning. The phone rang, Max's name on the screen. Normally, I'd have rushed to answer, heart pounding with hope for an apology. This time, I let it ring. Then Lena called. I let that ring too. A text from Max followed, "Mom, please answer. We need to talk." I deleted it without responding. By 2 p.m., I decided to go for a walk, not to the bank or the store for their needs, but just for me. I passed the park where I'd taken Max as a child, his little arms wrapping around me as he called me the best mom in the world. When had that boy become a man who saw me as an ATM? When had I started equating love with money? At the bank, I met Mr. Klein, the branch manager who had processed my transfers for years. "Mrs. Richter," he said, waving me in, "here for another transfer?" His smile faltered when I shook my head. "No, Mr. Klein. I'm here to cancel all automatic transfers and ensure no one else has access to my accounts." His surprise was palpable, but he complied. As he worked, my phone buzzed incessantly, "Max, Lena, Max again." They sensed their lifeline slipping away. I turned the phone off. "Mrs. Richter," Mr. Klein said gently, "I've seen you give so much to your family. I hope you're not being pressured into this." His concern, from a near stranger, touched me more than Max's rehearsed apologies ever had. "No pressure, Mr. Klein," I replied. "I've just stopped pressuring myself." Leaving the bank, I felt lighter, as if I'd shed a burden I'd carried for years. My money was mine again, no longer a tool to buy affection. But the fight was far from over. That evening, I returned home to find 3 cars parked outside my house, Max's, Lena's, and an unfamiliar one. Through the windows, I saw movement inside, my home invaded. I had given them keys years ago, trusting they'd care for me as I had for them. My blood ran cold, but I steeled myself and opened the door. Inside, Max sat on my sofa, head in his hands. Lena paced like a caged animal, and an older man in a gray suit rifled through papers on my dining table, my personal documents. "What is happening here?" I demanded, my voice sharper than I expected. Lena spun toward me, her tone dripping with false relief. "Renate, thank God you're here. We need to talk. This is Mr. Fisher, from the law firm we consulted about your situation." "My situation?" I asked, incredulous. "What situation? I'm doing perfectly fine." Max looked up, his eyes reflecting financial panic rather than remorse. "Mom, we went to the bank. Mr. Klein said you canceled the transfers and blocked our access to your accounts. We don't understand why." Mr. Fisher, the lawyer, extended a hand I didn't shake. "Mrs. Richter, I'm Dr. Fisher, a family law attorney. Your children are concerned about your mental well-being and have asked me to assess the situation." I gathered my papers from the table, my hands steady despite my rising anger. "These are my private documents. You have no right to touch them without my consent." "Mom," Max said, his voice condescending, "we're worried about you. You've been acting strange, cutting us off, ignoring our calls. We think you need professional help." Lena stepped closer, her crocodile tears on full display. "Renate, honey, we know you're under stress. At your age, confusion is normal." Confusion. The word was a calculated jab, meant to paint me as a senile old woman. I realized their plan, declare me mentally incompetent to seize control of my finances. "I'm not confused," I said, my voice cutting through the room. "I'm clearer than I've been in years. And you're leaving my house. Now." Mr. Fisher tried to intervene, his tone patronizing. "Mrs. Richter, your children have a right to intervene if your financial decisions seem impaired. They've documented concerning behaviors." "Concerning behaviors?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "Like deciding my money is mine?" Like refusing to finance adults who treat me like garbage. Lena's mask slipped, her voice sharp. We never treated you badly, Renata. Your family. Everything you have will be ours someday anyway. We're just speeding up the process. There it was, the naked truth. To them, I was already dead, my savings their inheritance to claim early. Out, I said, pointing to the door. All of you. Max stood, his face petulant. Mom, we can't just leave. We have obligations, the rent, the car payments, the credit card you co-signed. You can't cut us off like this. Who says I can't? I snapped. For years, I've paid for a life that had no place for me. No more. Mr. Fisher produced a folder. Mrs. Richter, we've prepared a power of attorney to let Max and Lena manage your finances temporarily, until you're feeling better. I took the folder and tossed it into the trash without opening it. The only transition happening here is you to the front door. Lena's tears turned to rage. You can't do this, Renata. We made plans based on your support. We bought things, took on obligations because we knew we could count on you. Obligations based on my money, I said. Not my well-being, not my happiness, just my money. Get out. Max made one last plea, his voice dripping with false remorse. Mom, we made mistakes. The wedding was a misunderstanding. We can fix this if you're reasonable. Reasonable. I spat. Reasonable is pretending it didn't hurt to be excluded from my son's wedding? Reasonable is funding your life while you treat me like a stranger? Get out. They left, their wounded pride palpable. Max's final words stung. This will end badly for you, Mom. You'll end up alone. Max, I said, my voice heavy with sorrow, I'm already alone. But now it's my choice, not your neglect. The silence after they left was the sweetest I'd ever known, the silence of freedom. That night, I couldn't sleep, not from fear but from adrenaline. I was planning my next steps like a general preparing for battle. If Max and Lena wanted a fight, I'd give them one, but on my terms. The next morning, I visited Mr. Weber, a lawyer I'd known since handling Robert's will. He listened as I recounted the invasion, the lawyer, the threats. Mrs. Richter, he said, this is elder financial abuse, a federal crime. Their unauthorized entry and document tampering is a serious violation. We need to document everything, every transfer, every gift, every instance of pressure. We spent hours reviewing my financial records. Mr. Weber's whistle at the $33,300 total was a grim acknowledgement of my folly. With this money, you could have traveled, lived comfortably, enjoyed your retirement, he said. Instead, you funded two adults who didn't respect you enough to invite you to their wedding. Next, I went to the hardware store. Mr. Sommer, the owner, greeted me warmly. Another emergency for your son, Mrs. Richter? He asked. No, Mr. Sommer. This time, it's for me. I need new locks, the best you have, and a full security system. His son Ethan, who installed security systems, overheard. Mrs. Richter, I can set you up with cameras, motion sensors, the works. You'll have peace of mind. By the next day, my home was a fortress, my phone linked to cameras that could alert the police if needed. The irony wasn't lost on me, I was protecting myself from my own son. That afternoon, Lena called from an unknown number. Renata, please don't hang up. We want to make things right. Let's have a special dinner to celebrate our wedding with you. We can cook together, like old times. I saw through the manipulation. Lena, how much rent do you owe? Silence, then a reluctant admission, 2 months. $1,000. But that's not why I'm calling, Renata. We miss you. Do you miss me or my money? I asked. When was the last time you called just to ask how I was? Silence again. Lena, you made your choice when you said I wasn't special enough for your wedding. Now I'm making mine. I hung up and turned off my phone. I treated myself to a day at the salon, something I hadn't done in over a year, always prioritizing Max and Lena's emergencies. Cynthia, my stylist, welcomed me warmly. Mrs. Richter, I thought you'd forgotten us. I forgot myself, Cynthia, I said. But not anymore. I got the full treatment, cut, color, manicure, pedicure, and spent money on myself without guilt. As Cynthia worked, we talked about her life, her dreams, her kids. It was refreshing to have a conversation not centered on Max and Lena's needs. "You look free," Cynthia said when she finished. "Did something good happen?" "I learned to say no," I replied. That evening, I found an older woman on my porch, Eleanor Brooks, my neighbor of years whom I'd never truly known. "Mrs. Richter, I heard loud voices yesterday and got worried. Is everything okay?" Her concern warmed me. "Come in, Eleanor. I'll make coffee and tell you a story you won't believe." Over coffee, I poured out my heart, the wedding, the betrayal, the lawyer. Eleanor listened, her eyes welling up. "Renate, I went through this with my daughter 5 years ago. I thought I had to fund her life to keep her love. When I stopped, she threatened me, but after 6 months, she apologized. Now we have a real relationship, based on love, not money." Her words gave me hope. Maybe Max would come around one day, but I knew my responsibility was to myself now. That night, I slept better than I had in years, unburdened by worry over Max and Lena's needs. The next day, I called Diana, my sister in Chicago. "Renate, it's about time," she said after hearing my story. "Every time we talked, you bragged about how much you gave them, as if love was measured in dollars. I wanted to tell you Max never spoke of you with warmth, just about what you bought him." Her words cut deep, but they were necessary. "Lena talked about you in the future tense," Diana added. "Like they were waiting for you to die to claim your house, your money." It was a chilling revelation. They saw me as an obstacle to their inheritance. Eleanor invited me to dinner that night, introducing me to her daughter, Claire, who treated her with genuine respect. Watching them, I saw what a real family could be. "I wanted that with Max," I told Eleanor later. "Maybe you'll have it one day," she said. "But first, he has to learn you're a person, not a resource." The peace lasted a week until 3 cars appeared outside my house again, Max, Lena, and 2 strangers. My cameras showed them arguing, pointing at my home. I stayed in my car and called Mr. Weber. "Don't go in, Renate," he said. "I'm on my way with the police. We filed a temporary restraining order yesterday. They're not allowed on your property." Police arrived with Mr. Weber, and I watched as they confronted Max and Lena. Max shouted, "She can't call the police on her own son." Lena screamed, "You owe us, Renate. You co-signed our bills." Mr. Weber was calm. "Mrs. Schuster, any communication goes through my office. Consult a lawyer before making threats. My client has documented 3 years of payments." As they drove away, I felt a mix of relief and sorrow. The war was escalating, but I had allies. That night, Eleanor and her friends from the garden club, Maria, Carmen, Alfreda, and Cynthia, came over. They shared their own stories of family manipulation, offering me strength. "True love can't be bought," Alfreda said. "If you paid for it, it wasn't real." A week later, a social worker, Mrs. Schmidt, arrived for a wellness check, claiming reports of my erratic behavior. I recognized Lena's manipulation in the wording. "I'm calling my lawyer," I said firmly. Mr. Weber arrived, exposing the accusations as baseless. "Miss Schmidt," he said, "my client has endured 3 years of financial abuse, $33,300 to be exact. If anyone needs investigating, it's not her." Mrs. Schmidt reviewed my records and left, closing the case. But Mr. Weber warned me, "This will escalate, Renate. They're spending money, they don't have to declare you incompetent." The lawsuit came 3 weeks later, a formal bid to have me declared mentally incompetent. Their evidence? Statements from Lena, a hostile neighbor, Mr. Davis, and my pharmacist, Mr. Green, who'd been misled into signing a document about my irregular medication purchases. They claimed unpaid doctor's bills and hoarded medications, lies meant to paint me as unstable. I visited Mr. Green, who was mortified. "Lena tricked me, Mrs. Richter. I'll write a statement clarifying everything." Mr. Davis, however, was unyielding, his testimony based on misinterpretations of my security measures and new friendships. Mr. Weber arranged a psychiatric evaluation with Dr. Moore, who confirmed my cognitive excellence. "This is elder financial exploitation," she said. "It's more common than people think." Eleanor's garden club rallied around me, offering to testify. "You're not alone, Renate," Maria said. "We've seen your strength, your clarity. They can't take that away. The trial was a battle for my dignity. Max and Lena's lawyer portrayed me as a confused woman manipulated by strangers. Lena's tearful testimony painted her as a devoted daughter-in-law. Max's lies about my erratic behavior cut deep. But Mr. Weber dismantled their case, exposing their financial motives and lack of evidence. My witnesses, Mr. Green, Dr. Moore, Mr. Sommer, Eleanor, and her friends, testified to my competence and strength. On the stand, I told my story with unwavering clarity: the $33,300, the wedding exclusion, the manipulation, the home invasion. I stopped funding them because I realized I was buying an illusion of love, I said. My money was welcome, but I wasn't. Judge Miller's ruling was a triumph. Mrs. Renate Richter is in full possession of her mental faculties. This lawsuit is motivated by financial interest, not concern. The request for guardianship is denied. That night, Eleanor and her friends celebrated with me. You didn't just win a trial, Alfreda said. You won your life. 3 months later, I sold my house and moved to a vibrant apartment near the city center. I donated half my savings to elder abuse prevention charities and used the rest to live my dreams, traveling through Italy, taking art classes, volunteering. Max and Lena faded from my life, reportedly struggling in a smaller apartment, Lena working for the first time. Perhaps adversity would teach them what my generosity couldn't. Under the stars on my new balcony, I reflect on the woman I was, fearful, manipulated, desperate for love. That woman is gone. In her place is someone who knows her worth, who loves herself first. Freedom tastes like hope, and at 72, I'm just beginning to live.